What is going on? You are listening to Tags Podcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 750. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good on this Easter Monday, I think as they call it. Joining us, rounding out the equation, the lovely, talented Cody Maurice Doggett. How in the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. Doing wonderful. Slowly recovering, but doing all right.
Okay. I love it. Well, let's get into it on this. This episode was inspired a little bit. It's called This Is Me Now. Okay, J-Lo, right?
It's like, where have I heard that before?
Yeah, This Is Me. I always love that title and then I think she used it twice, right? I think she used it twice.
Or then and now or something.
Yeah, I think something like that. Then and now.
And I always like that because it's kind of looking at yourself in the moment. And that title, Jennifer Lopez, always resonated with me because this episode was a little bit inspired by when you see your pictures. Like nowadays, we're constantly reminded of pictures from our past. So, for example, my Mac there's a little pop-up square on the top left of my laptop that continuously shows me old pictures. And it can be super cool and lovely to go down memory lane. But sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, that's what I looked like 8 years ago. That's what I looked like 3 years ago. And you can compare yourself sometimes. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that. So if you ever open your phone and suddenly you're face to face with a version of yourself from, like I said, 8 years ago, same face, but maybe tighter, same body, but different. And for a split second, you think, was that my peak? Because we're living in a time where our memories don't fade, they're curated. Our phones remind us who we were, but not always who we're becoming. And as gay men, I think, that's where youth, sex, attention can feel like currency. Aging can feel like depreciation. But what if it's actually reinvention? And that's what I wanted to focus on. What if This Is Me Now isn't a downgrade, but say a deeper, sexier, more intentional version of who we've always been becoming? And that's where we lead today. This then versus now. When your phone shows you old photos, what's your first reaction, Jeremy? Is it pride, nostalgia, comparison, judgment, any of those?
I think it's kind of nostalgic. I think a lot of my memories also living in New York and just traveling and all kinds of different things are really fun to look back on. But I'm also at the same time really proud of how far I've come just in growing into myself and learning more about myself, and what I bring to a relationship is interesting. And yeah, I just feel like I've definitely evolved and was a lot crazier and more of a hot mess before. So I think that looking back on old things does remind me of that, but it also is nostalgic in the sense that it's so many good memories that I have as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the theme of today's show, too. And for me, it's become, we'll talk a little bit more in a little bit about how I've used it as comparison, like, ooh, I don't look like that anymore. But it has derived now to a really good nostalgic feeling or who I used to be. And for me in particular, when I look at pictures of the last 10, 15 years, a lot of mine, I was so into fashion and really progressive, forward-leaning fashion. I know you know a lot of it, Jeremy. All kinds of crazy looks and fun looks and avant-garde fashion. I was just really, I still love fashion, but not like I did. And so I look at it now. In fact, we were saying offline, Cody and I went to an event this past weekend called Daddyland. Look for it here in New York, where they take over a space with local gay LGBTQ vendors and sell like really cool erotic art. And we went to one of the booths and he does jewelry. Much of his jewelry is earrings and really cool earrings. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, you don't even have earrings." Well, at one point I had so much jewelry art, including a lot of earrings, but I let those holes close and it's just I'm in a different place. But I think I can now look at it with nostalgia in so many ways. I mean, Cody, do we or you romanticize our past selves more than they deserve at times?
I don't think I do, honestly. I think that for me, like it's all about the journey and the growth and growing into something new and more fulfilled, but also like evolved, I think, into the person that I was always meant to be. I feel like old versions of myself, they're wonderful. I feel like they serve their purpose in life to on my journey to who I'm becoming. But I do think that I look forward instead of looking back with more hope. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I
Yeah,
think it
definitely.
does. Yeah, let's deconstruct that. But yeah, no, it definitely does.
Should I lay down for this? What's going
Yes,
on?
no, we'll get to that. A time we thought we looked better, but weren't actually more fulfilled. I'll start with that. I have this photo on my refrigerator. I did a little collage of. It's got like all kinds of pictures of my mom and I when I had my dog. I think you guys are speckled in there at moments. And there's this one picture that I found that was taken by a photographer in San Francisco who ultimately put his me on his calendar. A lot of his photos he shot of me made it into the local gay rags in the 90s. It was me shirtless, black and white, totally ripped abs. And I now look at it with, wow, I love the way I look now, but I mean, I looked fierce back then. I mean, it was effortless. I don't even think I knew that I had these ripped abs. Like I didn't really appreciate it. But if I look at it sometimes like, wow, that guy, that young twink there has got a lot ahead of him to experience, and he's going to come through a lot of different journeys. And I think I'm so glad at where I'm at. So it's kind of like an homage to that period, but an appreciation of, wow, look at where we've come. But when you do you have a moment, a time you thought you looked better, Jeremy, but weren't actually more fulfilled?
Um, yeah, probably. I mean, I feel like I was just went through a phase of being like super snatched and just really, I don't know, like definitely more twinky uh and definitely prettier and less masculine. And I was so naive at that time and just I was such a different person, and that's something that's funny and comical to look back on, and just remember being in that place, but not in a like necessarily better headspace, and always judging myself or like thinking I'm not good enough or that I don't look like, just not fulfilled in general.
Yeah, it's like you can look at yourself often in some of these pictures and be like, wow, I look so snatched. But you can see sometimes the layers, you know what you've gone through, you know what's to come in all those
Mhm.
years when you took that photo, and then comparing it to who you are today. And that could be a fun thing that everybody can do. And what you know now is so much more powerful, I think. What do you say to this, Cody? A time you thought you looked maybe better, but weren't actually more fulfilled?
It's crazy because I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life now. Maybe like last year, I was in a little bit better shape, but not that much better. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I don't look back. I look back and I'm like, oh, wow. I judge myself, honestly. I'm like, wow, I could have tightened this up. I could have been a little bit bigger here. So I do feel like, and maybe I feel like maybe a part of me was like always reaching towards that goal. I don't know. I feel like I definitely look back and I think that I look better now. I don't know. Is that bad?
No, no, not at
I
all.
fe-
I think it's. I mean, I actually looked. It's funny because I cut my hair shorter, and it's much like the picture that I was just referring to on the refrigerator. And about 6 weeks ago, I put into ChatGPT, okay, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta. Okay, I'm going this week now, but it was 6 weeks ago. How can we tweak my workout, my diet? And it gave me this whole routine based on my current age, based on my weight, and a lot of other things that I gave it. And I've been really doing the program. Well, I would
Hmm.
say I look my waistline, like I was wearing these pants for Easter yesterday that were a little snug before. Nope, they fit great now. I'm much closer to that picture now, especially with the style of my hair. And so, yeah, no, I think I agree with you. Yeah, you can feel like I feel, in a lot like in the best shape right now at this moment in time. This is me now, is what we're talking about. But I mean,
Yeah,
there can, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I really just kinda locked in at the gym. I feel like I have a lot more focus now, and it's all around. I feel like I was more of a, like, sporadic type person, like, I was kind of fly with the wind. I would go here, I would go there, but now I'm really kind of, like, focused on what it is I want to do with my life and where I'm kinda going. I don't know, it's just a different perspective that I have now.
And if we move on, I get it. Yeah. And I think there's within social media, of course, gay culture, there's a lot of pressure. Obviously, youth obsession in our culture, twinks, as opposed to invisibility as we age, aging out versus evolving, all the filters and editing and that we put out there. And it's funny because I think our culture, I was just reading this whole article of that in GQ with Joel Kim Booster. And, he just got married and he's talked very openly, which I really appreciate about him and his new husband, but they're in an open relationship just in terms of sex. Like he says, and he says there is more pressure, he said in this article, not just for his acting roles to look a certain shape, because he says, now that I have my husband, we like to just eat what we want. We have a good time together. We're in a deeply committed romantic love, marriage. And
Mhm,
so when he's looking for this recreational sex, it is all about the body and looking a certain way, even more than him getting certain parts. It's the gays, he said, are the harshest. And when it comes down to just like a body pic, he says that's what we're judged on. And so I feel what I mean, does that make sense to you, Jeremy? If you're like just looking for sex, our community can put even more pressure on ourselves in social media.
Yeah, but I think it's also what you're trying to attract as well. I think a lot of times in our community that factors in how you have to look or how you think you have to look in order to attract what it is that you're, I guess, what you're looking for. And um, we can always all be harsh on ourselves. And I think that like narrative doesn't help at all. And then I also
Yeah.
think your geographic location really factors into that as well. So when you're in big major cities that have a ton of gays, I think that heightens the judgment level rather than being in a smaller town or suburban area for sure.
And I would add to that too, maybe you can weigh in on this too, Cody, is that if you're just reduced to a picture, a social media algorithm, or a grinder pick, that is all you have to go by is that one particular pick. And people, I would argue, are a lot more judgmental or going to swipe quicker than, say, when we've gone to places like the New York Eagle, Cody, and you meet somebody in person and they might be way younger than you, the age gap could be big, but you're then somebody could be standing in front of you and they're taking everything all in. So how
mhm.
you approach them or how they approached you, the voice, just the humanity of it all is a lot more forgiving, and people aren't as judgy, I think, because you can't swipe a person away. I mean, you can
Oh, you definitely
ask
can.
them to Shantae away,
You
but
can try.
you
You
can
can
certainly try.
try.
You can, blink your eyes twice, but they're still going to be standing there. And I don't know. What
Oh
do you say to all
man.
this, Cody?
You can run away. No, I hear what you're saying. It's when they're right in front of you. It's more about like energy, and yes, the visual definitely helps. But yeah, there's more things like you said to take in. The smell, you can like it. There's a scent to people sometimes that the
Mm.
pheromones are there. There's all these things that can get you going that you can't get with a picture. So yeah, it's kind of instantaneous. It's either yes or no, and it's very kind. It's most times it's very like set in stone, and you can just swipe left or right whether or not you like it, and it's made us detached as like a community and a society and sexual beings. But I feel like it's also kind of put us out there more as far as like being able to connect with other gay people. So it's a double-edged sword. So I think that well, I think the more you put yourself out there with this kind of thing, the better off you are and on all fronts. So on Grinder, there's also a way for you to kind of put that energy into a picture. I feel like I've been able to do that a little bit with what some of my pictures because they're not like necessarily graphic, but they tell a story. And if you can tell a story with your picture, I think that it can go a long way.
You can sign up for Cody's workshop on how to take those pictures at the end of the show. But I mean, I'm not really good at that, but I am good at. Diego and I were out the other night, and I stopped a guy in his tracks. He was like walking in one way, and I said, "Excuse me," and struck. He was like so sexy and hot, and then he
Mm,
turned and looked at me. He was like, "Oh, hello to you." Like he took me in. And then, I mean, Diego and I had a little fun. And so it was well worth me stopping him. But we had a little fun conversation at first. It was, we got to know each other. I said, "Oh, who are you here with? What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I came with a bunch of guys, but we're all scattered about." And I said, "Well, you're here right now." And I was flirty, fun, brought Diego into the mix. And it was well worth me stopping him in his tracks because he then took us in and then he took us in as a couple. So even better. And
nice.
very nice. Yeah. So I do well in live and in person, 2 drink minimum. But if we're talking about reinvention and what does that actually or could look like, it could be your body, your style, like I was talking about, or how you change your style, sexual confidence, emotional openness. How would you say, Jeremy, you would describe yourself, "This is me now," with any of those prompts? Your style, sexuality, emotionally, body, any of those?
I think I'm definitely like more in touch with my just emotional self and senses, and I definitely am better at communication now than I ever have been before. As far as style, I feel like I've definitely gotten a little bit more, I don't want to say safe, but like a little more in touch with my preppy side than with how edgy I used to dress
All
living in
black.
living in New York. I think I definitely ventured out with color, also just because of my boyfriend and us sharing certain things,
Yes,
and
wardrobe.
then also just like being in Boston, it's just a very different vibe than New York. So a lot of the things that I go to are or tend to be more casual than they are all decked out or dressed up. But I still love any chance I can get to wear something shiny or sparkly or leather or something fun on my birthday or something specific that we go to. So, yeah, I think it's all an evolution in general, and I feel like I've definitely changed in those ways.
I love that. Very cool to see because I know we know you too, so it's
Yeah,
I've seen it as well happen, and I would totally agree with that. And it's really really cool when you see your friend move away, but you're still close with them, and you see this evolution happen, and it's all beautiful and positive, and just evolution. And I think it's
yeah.
really cool. I mean, Cody, this is me now. reinvention? What does that look like to you?
Style wise, I feel like I'm becoming more adventurous. I felt like I kind of played it safe a little bit, but now I'm like, well, the '90s are back, so I'm wearing all the things I wore when I was when I was a youngster back in the day. So I think there's that element to it too. So I feel like I'll never lose a crop top in my life. I'll never see one that I won't buy. So I think there's always going to be that element to it. But I feel like I'm dressing a little bit more edgy. Yeah, but reinventing myself. I'm just trying to stay relevant and stay on the cusp of culture. And so I think it's always good to make sure that you are being the most evolved and current version of yourself. So I definitely am like Madonna, like Janet, always trying to reinvent and be
I
better.
love that. Sexual confidence for me is definitely one of them that I'm embracing. I think I've mentioned before, Diego and I are both versatile, and we just the other day played both roles in the same night, and it was really fun. Where my younger self wasn't comfortable topping I am now, or I would then move into, well, maybe if I take a blue chew pill or some sort of enhancement, I can rely on that. Now I don't even have to do that. I can just, something clicked for me, the sexual confidence as a top, and own it and all that comes with it, and be a good top and flip and know that that's sexy too. Because I used to have this thing in my head, oh no, one needs to just be the bottom for the night and the other one needs to be the top. And now we're at least exploring the art of flipping. Yes, I said it, the art of flipping. And it's fun to do that. It makes the night last longer and take on those roles. And I used to be an actor, so I can do both at the same time,
Yes.
switch it up. And so, and then to what you were saying, Jeremy, to definitely emotional openness and trying to at least work on past traumas. And I mentioned before that early on, we're starting couples therapy in our early marriage before there's major problems, because we want to continue to develop that communication and, find what triggers us or individually triggers us that we then can bring into the relationship. And we want to do it before we actually have a major problem. And so, like, a lot of people have been asking us, because it's been a year now, how's it going? How's married life? And it's going great. But, I think it's that moment now where we're like, yeah, we're talking to somebody to really help us develop better communication. And I think that's healthy. So that is definitely for me how I've evolved, and that's me now. So if we could shift to feeling sexy now, this could be kind of fun. Ways that how are you feeling sexy now? Is it the way you dress, maybe, Jeremy, or maybe not so much now? Or is it more just your confidence in who you are becoming now that you feel sexy?
I think it's definitely more my confidence in feeling in my own skin, and I do still feel like I'm a work in progress, and I'm learning more about myself all the time. And then I think also when you're in a relationship, it helps you kind of take a step back outside of the relationship and look at uh, what things you can work on and do better at, and then
Yeah, because now
and
you're contributing to this
right,
unit.
and you have to factor in someone else's feelings and
Yeah.
wants and needs, and then also respect your own. And so that alone, I think, has brought me confidence that I definitely didn't have before. Uh, and it's been a joint effort, but it's also just knowing that I'm not perfect and I'm willing to work on certain things.
Yeah, it's just taking stock of all these things you have to really factor in. It's not enough just to be in a relationship, have a job. You have to then work on all these things, but it can be
Hmm.
fun too. I mean, for me, the way I'm feeling sexier, I mentioned before I had an OnlyFans or, just for fans, all of that. But I didn't really think about it. I just opened it up and put up pictures and videos without a direction. And I'm thinking of coming back to it, but in a more to speak to my age group and to actually have a vision of it so that I feel sexy, so that I make people that are aging like myself, because we all are, with confidence. And that's what I want to put forth. So stay tuned. That's coming forward that I
Oh,
can share
nice.
if you're all at all interested. But it's going to be a direction where it's not because it's going to have a purpose and a vision and all about empowerment and aging and of course still sexy and absolutely. But Cody, what about you? How are you feeling sexy today?
I'm just feeling sexy by I think like Jeremy was saying, it's a confidence thing. It's a feeling comfortable in your own skin. So I feel like for me, that's what I am trying to do. I'm trying to get confident and comfortable in my own skin and make sure that I'm going out there and flirting, honestly. I think that is a big, big part of it. Going out there and just putting myself into the mix, meeting guys, flirting, dancing with them, and just really, feeling my oats. So I think that that is a big component to it. Also, the way that I'm dressing now, I feel like that is something that, because, I like to show a little skin every now and then. So that makes me feel sexy too.
And
And
Cody,
even
you
if
mentioned
it's,
it before, eye contact. Are you working on that too?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes it gets a little weird, but I'm definitely working on it.
The power of eye
So
contact is really,
that's
yeah,
right.
to the eyes are the windows of the soul, as they say.
Mhm.
Let, this is a really good conversation. Let's continue it over. But before we wrap this portion of the show up, let's do a fun lightning round. I'll start with the first one. Whatever comes to your head, mind, just say it. A photo of yourself you love now. Well, I would say we've been going. There's a photographer here in New York City, Jeff, and I'll post his work up, but he is kind of a club photographer. And often, if he sees Diego and I, he'll shoot us, and I mean, in the club. And we have been taking a bunch of them with him. And that's my favorite is a couple of the ones that he's taken recently because it's us now. This is us now, not this is me now. It's me with Diego. And I really love taking pictures with my husband now. And when they get
Aw.
posted, I love seeing that this is us now. That would be me. Cody, what about you?
Well, we were talking about Dandyland before, and there is this photographer
Ooh,
there
yes.
for that he photographed me. They should be coming out pretty soon, and and he should be coming on the podcast soon too. It's Gay Smut Club on Instagram. So yeah, I love all those photographs that he took of me, and I even bought a few at Dandyland with him.
Describe one of them
And
because it's like a disco ball.
yeah, it was a fun time. So I can't wait for those pictures to come out. We saw a couple. He's still editing them, so I haven't seen them all, but I can't wait to see them because they're really special to me. So yeah, those.
Jeremy, a photo of yourself you love now.
I would say there's one that comes to mind that we took at um, P Town in front of City Hall when it was all lit up with a rainbow on it, and we had just saw a lesbian live artist, a singer that I really love, and
Ooh.
she just had an incredible voice.
You know her
And
name off the if not you could text me and we
yes,
can put it up on the
I
site.
have to look it up because
Okay. We'll get that.
I
Yeah.
just lost it. But anyways, she it was just a beautiful, like really fun night, and it was so spur of the moment that we ran into her, introduced ourselves, like said hello, and it was just a fun like dancing night that we had together, and it was uh just a random weekend that we spent in P Town. But that picture specifically where in front of City Hall and it's all lit up with a rainbow in P Town downtown. And yeah, that it's extra special.
Love that. Okay, something about our bodies we appreciate more with age. Let me start with this one. I something about my body that I appreciate more with age is that I know it more now. I know how to tweak it more. I know how to give myself a lot more grace when I look in the mirror. I know how if I'm having like oh, my lower back or something, I now know the stretches to do. I just feel like I check in from my medical professionals to I need to stretch more. I need to align myself more. I need to give myself grace. I just know my body more, and that's what I appreciate more with it. How about you, Jeremy? Something about your body you appreciate more with age?
I would honestly say that I am kind of thankful that I have been able to maintain a similar weight without working out a lot, which
Ooh,
is
yeah.
sounds really simple, but I mean, I have stayed and not fluctuated a ton without going to the gym a lot, and I definitely need to work on it more just to tone up, but that's one thing that I'm happy about. But I would also say something that's even more simple is focusing on getting good sleep, because
Oh,
I
Mm.
function so much better when I have really great sleep. And as you get older, you don't sleep as well. So for me, making sure that that's something like a top priority is really important. And I'm such an early bird that I have to make sure I get enough sleep in order to be productive. So I would say both of those things.
I am a hot mess if I do not get proper sleep. I'm just, some people they can run on empty and they're like, "Oh, I got 4 hours, I'm fine." I've That's one thing my body has never allowed me to do. Like I really back to Miss J Lo here, what we're calling it. I think she said she needs like 12 hours or something crazy. But
I'm sure.
yeah, I really have always I just feel like crap if I don't get it. And of course we can all do it in a pinch here and there, but in general I need a regular sleep pattern. How about you, Cody? Something about your body you appreciate more with age?
Yeah, I look like the crypt keeper if I don't get enough sleep.
Yeah, I know you too. You're kind of like me as well. We need
A
our
lot.
sleep.
So there's that. I appreciate that, I love sleep. I don't my mind keeps going to the fact that my knees aren't that horrible and my back that like I still have somewhat of a mobility. So that's what I'm really kind of thankful for about my body right now, because it could be a lot worse, I feel like. And then I'm like you said, I'm starting to know my body. I'm knowing what I have to do, what supplements I should take in order for it to run in a in a productive way, and for it to be conducive to having an active lifestyle.
One thing we're better at in bed now versus our 20s and 30s. Well, I said it before, I'm totally verse and can fluctuate between the two. Jeremy?
I think I am getting more in touch with what turns my partner on, and
Mm.
Ooh.
that's definitely something that I strive to like even get better with. So I think trying new things and being in tune with that is important.
Cody?
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy. I think that for me, it's about a lot of it is about pleasing my partner. So being able to kind of read people, even if I haven't ever been with them before, that's what I'm kind of gravitating towards.
I love it. And lastly, a glow up. Do you guys know what glow up? I didn't really. A glow up is a person's transformation into a more attractive or accomplished version of themselves. A glow up that had nothing to do with looks. I would
Mm.
say utilizing my voice coming from radio and really becoming a voice within this podcast and being on the early stages of one of the early gay focused podcasts that didn't have anything to do with my looks, but about my literal voice, my opinion voice, getting people like you all to offer your beautiful opinions and having a dialogue that has resonated for 8+ years has been my glow up. What about you, Jeremy?
I would say cultivating my point of view. So I think I have always had more of a decisive point of view, but I have more confidence in that decisiveness now than ever before. So I think
Ooh.
I get a clearer vision of my opinion and just my decisions that I make as I'm getting older.
Love that. How about you,
Me
Cody?
too. Yeah, I agree with you both. Well, actually, coming into my own decisions, but also like finding my voice as a musician and kind of,
Mm.
releasing music like Think of Beauty available now on wherever you get your music.
Yep. You got to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's really the determining factor for me. It's like this is something I dreamed of my entire life, and now I've done it, and I'm going to keep on doing it. So yeah,
I love that.
New video coming out this week.
this
Plug that
week,
real quick
baby.
since you're on that.
I
Name the
forgot
song, the
almost for a
video.
second.
Yeah. And are we going to show it Wednesday night?
Let's do it.
So Tags Live, we're live every Wednesday, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, as always. But Cody will be premiering the video on Tags Live. So if you want to see it early, join us. You can get the link on tagspodcast.com. And what's the name of the song?
Proof of Love.
Yes, exactly. So check that out. And then the video will come out later that week, right? Friday or
Friday. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. This was so much fun. Let's get let's get into hot topics. Sure. Who knew? It's 17 years that Grindr had a birthday, and 17 years ago, this week, the Orange Demon app celebrated its 17th anniversary of its launch. And a lot of people had a lot of different, they asked people to come up with fun screenshots, and there were some doozies. Grindr wrote, "It's my anniversary. Funniest Grindr screenshots get unlimited." So unlimited means a whopping $44.99 per month. And in these times, with these gas prices and this climate, Cody, it was worth it to be vulnerable and post some of the craziest, most interesting screenshots. I'll read a few, we'll discuss. Somebody wrote, "Single question mark? Yeah, how about you? Girlfriend but cheat." The other one wrote, "Nice, love cheating." Okay.
Oh my
What?
God.
Somebody wrote, "Really into fattening up twinks. If you are interested," and they wrote a little pig emoji, "already got a few boys nice and fat over the summer. You'd be a nice addition to the group," with the devil sign. Wow, that's a little crazy. And then the time a couple tried to coerce me into a demonic possession, they wrote, "I don't know if it's my thing," he writes. "Don't know unless you try," said the other one. "Never had an interest in worshiping Satan, you know?" Fair, but
What?
you have a fit body. You're good looking. I'd like to worship Satan with you in a ritual, and I'd like to see your body possessed and controlled.
Oh my
Abort,
God.
block. I don't need to be the next exorcist happening. And they kind of went on and on as, I mean, is amazing. I don't know if they actually said who won, but there's some crazy doozies. Do you ever have any that you remember back in the day that just were crazy, Jeremy?
I felt like I was like one of those people that if I wasn't interested or the conversation got really ridiculous, I would just block them. So
Yeah.
I honestly can't really remember, but I know there was definitely just hot mess ones, or I really couldn't stand when people would be mid conversation and then just not answer at all, or like you can tell that they just went offline altogether. That alone is annoying if you're trying to make plans or actually meet versus just chat for the rest of ever.
Yeah, I would get scared with some of these. I would block if I knew how to block, and then I would hide underneath my desk. Can they see me? A la Carrie in Sex and the City, because I'm just not really good with all that. But that would freak me out. How about you, Cody? 17th anniversary. Would you have a screen capture that would be getting you a month free?
Probably not a month free, because people like Jeremy, I kind of, once it gets a little weird, I'm like, okay, we should probably block this person. But I've definitely had people that have been, I get a lot of too insistent people, like I owe them dick. I don't understand where that comes from, because and then people are like, "Oh, you said you're a versatile top, and that means I can come over and you'll bottom for me." I'm like, no, that's not how it works. I've told people like I only bottom like with 3 weeks in advance notice, or like the bottom is silent. I have a lot of like comebacks for stuff like that. So yeah, happy birthday, Grindr.
Well, Bimbofication has become a whole thing when Christy Nome's husband, Brian Nome, leaked photos came out, and I think you've seen them by now, Jeremy, right? Him and
Yes.
those big. Well, one DC bar, the DC Eagle, decided to host a kink night after the Brian Nome story, and they didn't waste any time on capitalizing on the turmoil that it caused that family. The District Eagle, a gay bar on U Street, said blame Byron Nome for its bimbofication kink night, and it was happening last Thursday. And they said, we've sent the reports, we've read the leaks, the bar said in an Instagram, and frankly, we're inspired. Its promotional image featured a man with fake breasts and promises of double D drink specials, an apparent reference to the photo shared by the Daily Mail of Brian Nome. And it said, besides Double D drink specials, music by Miscalculated, fake boobs and hot pants, the new dress code they write, question mark. And I think this is hilarious. And why not capitalize at their expense, especially, Jeremy, in DC, where they take themselves so seriously. Do you think this was a fun night?
Yes, I think it's hilarious, and I couldn't stand that lady, and I honestly couldn't believe when that came out.
Me as well. Cody, did we miss out last Thursday? What's up?
I know what happened. We could have had the most fun ever. We could put balloons in our shirts and stuff like that. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm so just I'm flabbergasted by this news, and it just doesn't surprise me because they're always pointing the finger at us when it's really because they feel guilty for their own things. So, a hypocrite
Yeah.
much, guys?
Yeah. Well, in music news, J.Cole released a new album revealing regrets for cutting off a friend over their sexuality upon learning he died from AIDS. And this would be really interesting to get your take, Cody, because rapper J.Cole finally released his long awaited project, The Fall Off. It's kind of an ambitious 24-track double album. And
Hmm.
he guides listeners through two periods of his life, ages 29 and 39, offering kind of his brand where he has self-interrogation and reflection on a lot of his music. Well, one standout track on the album is Safety, where Cole recalls distancing himself from a friend named Quay because of their sexuality, a regretful decision that still lingers with him after he learned Quay later died from AIDS complications. And I'll read just a couple of notes that he says. And he says, Yokwe passed last night from medical conditions that were too advanced for doctors to intervene. They couldn't do a thing. They say he dwindled away until his size was that of a figurine. It seemed just like a mystery. Some say it was acquired immune deficiency syndrome. We know what team he acknowledged. Since he was kids, he lived in a closet, but that changed soon. And he went to college, running with fruity types, dick in the booty types, tight pants, switching their hips, painting their nails. So the
Dick in
N
the
word.
booty types.
So the N word from the vial had to distance ourselves. And he goes on to say, so he's kind of like, and uses, we turned our backs on him. Some of us called him the F word. And I mean, it's an apology. Safety plays as a raw apology, not only to Quay, but towards friends and loved ones. What is your take on this? And when you speak from your heart, but it can still sound a little cringy to
I know
me.
it's a little rough. I don't know. I need to give it a listen because it does sound like something that I'm interested in. I love J. Cole, and since Kendrick did it so eloquently and beautifully with his album, because I think he has an aunt that's a lesbian, and he dedicated a whole slew of songs and some of the album to him. So I know that it can be done respectfully and in the right light, but I want to give it a listen. It, J. Cole he's graphic, but I think that like it comes with a larger picture, and you have to look at the larger picture. So I can't wait to listen to it.
I'm kind of with you on this one because I think it speaks to the Black community as well. And he's straight. And I think within people of color in general, there's such stigmatization that we still need to work on within our own ethnic communities on how we deal with people and what it means to be a man. And I think most of the people that will be listening, probably, I'm just making this up, will be his fan base, right? And so if he's talking about a past, how he judged somebody and how he regrets that, and he uses the language that they would understand, but to make a point that he regrets that, I think that's a positive thing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I would love your take on it, Jeremy.
I mean, I don't know if I accept that apology. I think it kind of sounds like a hot fucking mess, and it was way too judgmental and homophobic to start with. I don't know. It's the whole thing is a little questionable to me.
Well, see, now this is why I love doing the show, because in reading those lyrics back, it was cringy for me even to read what I could read, because it
Yeah.
did
Right.
sound like, are we now offending other?
Well, I just also think it's like not the same as a back-ended compliment, but it is. I mean, he's saying sorry, but then labeling our community, like people in our community, as like dick in the booty, and I don't know. It just
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
not
a good time, by the way. Let's just put that
I
out
know,
there.
but it's just not.
You
It's
know,
not a
he's not
great way for you to
pushing-
apologize to
No, I get it.
someone.
He's using old tropes and stereotypes
Yeah,
that have always lingered around our community and tried to make us feel less than, that much of our community has turned around, like the word queer, and embraced for empowerment. But he's apologizing. I see what you're saying in general, but ultimately using old tropes and stereotypes that are really hurtful to our community.
and I think what it does is it like
Perpetuate.
it kind of gives his following the okay to do the same, and I don't really love that. Like, I don't know, because I feel like
Will they get the
his
messaging that he really
right,
is?
exactly that, and that it's okay to make that mistake. I don't know if it is. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
mean,
mean? I
That's
yeah,
a
feel
I
like
mean,
it's making an excuse.
like, listen, at the end of the day, Cody, he gets to say what he wants. It's art. It's
Hmm.
his music. But do you hear kind of what Jeremy and I are saying too?
Oh, definitely. It made me uncomfortable with you reading
Yeah,
the
it was,
lyrics.
imagine me reading it.
Yeah, but I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" But again, I wanna hear, because a lot of it is like the whole picture. So I wanna hear the whole picture and how it, like, evolves into
Hmm.
something that he feels, like, remorse for. But like you said, in your defense, like, some people are not gonna look at the whole picture. They're just gonna look at these they're gonna look at the fine print. That's what happens
Hmm.
on when people take
Well,
clips from like shows or whatever, and it's out of context. People can just pick and choose what they want to hear. So maybe it's not going to land for some people, but that's a choice that he's definitely made and a chance that he's willing to take.
and listen, we are fresh off of Kanye West, who has made so
Girl.
many hateful comments to so many different groups, including the Jewish community, with the swastika, and in, basically saying he hates Jewish people,
Mhm.
and barely put out a no, I didn't mean that, at the beginning of the year. Yet sold out to, I think it's 70,000 people per night in LA, and they added a night. So I think he's at 4 nights. He made millions and millions of dollars. People came out to see him, and it's almost like, wow, it didn't really affect his popularity at
Girl.
all, really.
So sad.
And yeah, they
Just
just, I
ridiculous.
mean, so I mean, I don't
He
know.
did he did harm to the Jewish community, but he talked about slavery, that it was a choice. Like, oh, who does that? I could never. I don't know. I'm always gonna be side-eyeing
I
Kanye,
think we pick
and
and
I'm
choose sometimes
definitely.
too on who we, give grace to and who we don't. I don't
Hmm.
know. But let's end on something fun though, not this.
Okay.
Lastly, Queerty did a fun thing that we can all relate to, since we just had Sunday. Are you a brunch gay? And the gays were sounding off about this most polarizing meal. I didn't think it was polarizing at all. First popularized in By Hollywood stars in the 1930s, brunch was largely served in hotels through the mid 20th century. As the country became more secular and more women entered the workforce, the meal emerged as a stand in for church. Yep. And now it's a place where we confess our sins, preferably our over bottomless mimosas or a big Bloody Mary. They asked gays this week where they stand on this notoriously boozy midday feast, and here's what they had to say. We'll discuss. I love it. The light breakfast fare with fruity cocktail or mocktails, spent with friends, catching up on all the latest weekend gossip and conquest in my cup of tea. And to quote the fabulous blue-haired lady, it's not quite breakfast, it's not quite lunch, but it comes with a slice of cantaloupe, said Marge Simpson. You aren't gay if you don't like brunch. Gays invented it like everything festive, says John in Boston. I love brunch. Somebody said brunch is the height of sophistication. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is what they do in prisons. Others said, I prefer doing drinking, dancing, and having a good time at night. Once I start drinking, the rest of the day is gone for me. He went on to say all the shenanigans that can happen. Somebody said, brunch is always welcome, especially after wake up sex, said Roger in Palm Springs. Somebody said, what's even the point? Either get breakfast or get lunch, Justin in Staten Island. And somebody said, I don't think it's necessary. Either have breakfast or lunch and eat something small in between to pass time. Okay, well, I don't agree with Ula in Brooklyn. I used to, I mean, it's funny. I was like, wow, do I brunch? And I did yesterday for Easter Sunday. And I don't do a lot of, I used to think I did a lot of those brunches. Now I don't really like those boozy brunches where it's, you pay one fee and it's like bad prosecco and it's just overflowing. I like a good cocktail, and because I just know myself, if I start drinking early, it's going to be a hot mess later. So, but I like it, but once in a while. But I used to be a bigger brunch person. How about you, Jeremy?
I would say exactly the same. I feel like I loved it a lot in the past, and I used to do all of that bottomless mimosas and all of that. And I like it now. It's just I could definitely chill at home and go to like a later dinner and be like relaxed or go out after that. So it's like a give or take for me. I do like day drinking now. But I definitely like a brunch to be like on the later end rather than like early, and turn into dancing and fun.
Yeah, I feel like now I want to look at the beginning of the year at the calendar ahead and pinpoint like maybe 3 times within the upcoming year, space them out, that I will do one of those fun, boozy brunches, and that's it. Because it could be a hot mess and I want to space those out. What about you, Cody?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that when I was younger, I definitely was all about brunch every Sunday and just going out and just day
And
drinking.
and when you don't have a lot of money too, that's the ticket, right? Go to one of
Very
those.
cost effective.
Very
Yeah.
cost effective. You can get a drag show, bottomless brunch, mimosas, and not spend like a ton, your whole paycheck, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's a set price. So I think, but as time has gone on, I have weaned myself off of them. But they've just gotten to, I need a nap after drinking. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I've just found that my body is not built for day drinking and then going out at night again. So yeah,
Yeah, they're super fun to
what you do
take
is
like your
correct.
mom out to a brunch and, for like a Mother's Day or something like that, or,
But
but
I'm not doing the bottomless brunch with my mother. That's
no,
not in
neither
the
am
cards
I.
for me.
I don't want to see. I come from my mother, and I don't want to see where I know where I go. So yeah, no, not happening. Oh my goodness, could do this all night, but we have to run. We are live though Wednesday, and check us out 9 to 10 on the Crowdcast platform. We are premiering Cody Maurice's brand new video. So excited! You can always follow my co-host. You can follow Jeremy on the gram at @JRossLopez. Follow Cody also on Instagram and Blue Sky at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. And in the meantime, continue having hot
gay
sex.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.